Exhibit's cool. So today we are going to be working on drawing some animals. Teach you how to do some animal shapes, and you guys are gonna need your drawing paper. You're gonna need an eraser, and you're gonna need a pencil. If you have other tools that you'd like to use, then great. But we're basically going to be running down the different types of animals, so it's easier for you guys to like add more things to your drawings rather than just always having to draw people or always having to draw, you know, a particular animal that you like. So we're going to try and add some variety to your guys' repertoire. All right. So what we're going to do is, since we've already worked on animals from inside the ocean that had flippers, and we worked on animals that had 2 legs, we're going to move to something that has animals with 4 legs. Okay, so animals with 4 legs are basically the same, just like birds and people. Alright, so let's start off with this first animal here. As you can see, the animal's looks a lot different than a person, but you'd be surprised at how similar this animal is to a person, actually. Alright, so let's look at the similarities. So first of all, it has a head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the head first. I'm going to use a circle. And then from the head, it has a neck that comes down to shoulders. And then it has a back that heads to hips. It has a tail. It has upper arms, elbows. It has forearms, and it has hands. In the back where the hips are, it has a thigh. It has a knee. It also has a calf or shin, which is basically the tibia and the fibula of the bone structure. It has an ankle. It has the foot that bends to the toes. Okay, so it's very similar to a person, as it has the same type of parts to it. However, they are more exaggerated in certain areas. So like we would say that the tail on a human is nowhere near as long as a tail on this animal. So their tail protrudes out from their back, whereas ours you can't really see. The animal's shoulders and chest are much more narrow than a human's chest. So our arms stick out to the side of our body if we're to stand forward, but for these animals, they're kind of pinched together because their chest muscles and their chest structure is much more narrow. But they still have the same things. They still have the shoulders, elbows, hands, head, neck, spine. They do have a longer tail than we do. Yes, humans have tails. And we also have femur, fibula, tibia, and the hands, which are the tarsal, or the legs, feet, I should say, the tarsals, metatarsals, and whatnot. Okay, so basically the same. Yeah, a lot of, like I was saying, exaggerated features, but however, the structure all remains the same. Okay, so let's add some bones, some meat to our bones. So for the nose, we're just going to go ahead and add trapezoidal shape for the nose. We're going to add a line coming down to the chest for the neck. Another smooth line coming down to the back. The back is going to arc right into the butt, the glutes. The chest is in the front here, and we have our shoulders and arms coming down from inside the body. We have the forearms on the dog, which are pretty straight, which is surprising. And then finally, the toes, like that. Then you have the chest hanging down, going to the stomach. Thighs coming up and back. Then we have the knees moving into the shin and the calves. The heel comes down to the foot, which then have the toes. Also the tail. The ears on this particular animal are hanging, and it just looks like a floppy mess. So I'm just going to put this similar contoured line to match up with the picture here. The eyes on this particular animal are facing forward. This is more of a hunter, so the eyes are facing forward. That's another thing about animals, is if it's so an animal that gets hunted a lot, the eyes are usually on the side of its head, kind of like, you know, like pigeons and stuff, the way they have their eyes really on the side of their heads rather than the front. And the eyes on the front of the animal mean that it's more of a predator, means this is the one doing the attacking and the killing. So that's some interesting information. Okay, the mouth has a little flap coming down for the lips, saggy neck. Okay, so from here, all we do is erase all those lines that we use to make our shape, to finish our form. Okay, and there we have our animal all done. All right, let's look at another animal that looks very, very close to this. Sometimes when people draw this animal, it ends up looking kind of like a dog. Well, let me show you some small differences. Okay, so here's the animal we're going to do. And the parts that you want to exaggerate on this animal just so happen to be the head and the neck, because they're more angular. So if you look at the picture, you notice that. Okay, so I'll draw a circle for the head. Now, instead of using a trapezoid or a rectangle to do the mouth or the beak, we're going to use more of a triangular shape or a skinnier trapezoid to make that part. Okay, and if you look at the neck also looks like a triangle. Very, very similar shapes. Okay, the back has the shoulders just like this guy. The back has a small dip, and it comes back up towards the hindquarters. Has the pectoral muscles there, has the chest, and this one also has a tail. Okay, so the arms, pretty much the same thing, only a more triangular. Comes sticking down. It has the bend right here. Lines kick forward. But instead of having paws, this guy's going to have hooves, which are basically rounded paws with no toes. So there's that. Okay, the back is going to be, once again, it's going to have the thigh. I'll make my thigh a little bit bigger. Bigger thigh. And from the knee, which is quite short, we have a very short version of the lower leg here. And that tapers down to big ankles, which lead to the foot, and it has these big notches here for the toes, which are actually hooves. And then the tail on this one hangs down. Alright, so moving back to the head, this guy has ears that are more perky, so they stick up off the head and come back around. And it's got some hair coming out between the ears, as well as hair hanging down the body. Might have made my horse's neck a little too long. It's kind of very similar to that of a giraffe, I would assume. Yeah, the eyes, the nose, and the bump on the bottom of the mouth to make the lip as it comes back, and we have ourselves a horse. Just go ahead and take your eraser and erase the lines that we don't need off of our picture. Yeah, my neck of my horse is a bit long, but it's not a big deal. I mean, there are horses that have superly long necks, which are like giraffes. So if you want to do a giraffe, you can actually draw a similar shape to a body of a horse, and the neck is going to be really tall, and the head is going to be really small. Okay? Alright. Let's do another picture of a quadruped, or what they call a four-legged animal. When in actuality they do have arms, just like we do, only we do not walk on our arms. Okay, alright, let's take a look at our next picture. You know what, I want to turn this paper sideways because I'm running out of space. Alright, so even this picture of this animal here is very similar to that of the dog, but instead of being exaggerated in a way where there are more triangles and longer limbs, this one seems to be a little bit rounder and a lot bigger. So using the same information that we had before, you can start off with a round head that goes to the shoulders, which come down. It goes to the back hips. We have the thighs, the knees, very short shin. So here the exaggeration is on the femur, and when it comes to the shin calf area, it's shorter. It's not as long. And then it kicks forward to the toes. This one has the shoulder going into the upper arm. The upper arm is holding most of its weight on its front paw, like that. And there's really no tail that you can actually see, because it's probably flat or small, close to the butt of the animal. Let's look at what's I called the form now. Now that we have the outlines of, the skeleton, we can start adding some meat to our bones. So the snout is more like a trapezoid. Okay, and then it comes up and around. We have a little tuft here for an ear. Then the neck comes nice and thick. Underneath the mouth, it's nice and thick. And then we have a big, massive upper arm that goes to the neck and chest. And then the arm kicks back, or should I say kicks forward, to the hands. And the hands lay flat on the ground, just like that. Now this one has a big belly. Has my kind of stomach. So we're just going to make it kind of like bumpy. Nice big round tummy. It has big shoulders to hold its massive weight. It has a dip coming down, and it goes up and around for the butt. The thighs, nice big thighs. Definitely can tell this creature was built for power and not very much for speed, but I'm sure these suckers can run way faster than I can. So let's see. The short leg comes back towards the heel, and it's a little bit rounded from the knee, and it almost looks really flat-footed. I mean, like you can, looks like a little monkey's foot. It's like flat. Okay, and then we have the back arm. We'll just put a triangle coming down, and then it's bent, and it looks like it's kind of like sliding on the top of the grass, like it's just grazing onto the ground. It kind of walks goofy, actually. Back leg comes down and around, and then it comes up again, like that. We have another ear on the inside of the head. It's kind of hard to see because of the color of the fur. And the eyes on this guy are towards the front because he's another hunter. He looks for his food. Yeah. He's got a big old nose to smell for that honey and all those fish. And he has those hanging down lips like a dog. That comes back. And then we have the bottom part here. Just like that. So there we have a picture of our more exaggerated animal. But these animals, these three animals, this horse, this dog, and this bear, they all have very, very similar structure. Okay, it's just other places are exaggerated more than the other animal. And once you kind of get the understanding of each animal, what parts need to be exaggerated, I mean, you can just draw these things on your own after that, once you kind of understand how each animal's head works, yeah? What parts are more slender, what parts are angular, what parts are thicker and rounder, okay? So that is it for our quadrupeds.